Hi there, my name is Dr. Mohammed Ahmed. Today's very short tutorial will be looking at how to search for peer-reviewed journals using online PubMed, and then how to download the citations associated with the journals that you're accessing, and to use Endnote in particular in this case, and then how to incorporate that information from Endnote to your Word document file for citation purposes. So let's start at the beginning. So in this tutorial, I'm just suggesting to use PubMed as a source of finding searching for peer-reviewed journals, but there are alternatives such as Google Scholar. Both are fine, and I'm sure there's plenty more. The only issue with PubMed is that it is not Google per se. It will give opportunity to ask for hints and suggestions, but typos and incorrect keywords will not produce any results at all. So just keep that in mind when you're searching for your topics and interest in future using PubMed and CBI. So let's start. So how would I start searching for peer-reviewed journals? So I would actually search for keywords in PubMed such as microRNA-21 or skin. That's what I like to, my research is based on. And I'm just going to pick up a journal which I recently published looking at the role of microRNA-21 in aging. So the first screen, when you search for these keywords, you have the best matches come up and associated genes and dates and journals. Because I know which journal I'm interested in, I'm just going to pick the one that I'm interested in, such as the one highlighted here, number 3, interplay of microRNA-21, sub-1 in epidermal keratinous surgery and skin aging. So this is my recent paper I published in Journal of Investigative Dermatology. I'm going to just use this as an example how to find this data which is associated with peer-reviewed journals, and then how to download this data into EndNote and then cite it correctly in your Word document file. So I found the journal of interest, for example, my paper, and then I have this screen once I select on it. So once I have this information, it gives me all the information that I need in terms of the journal title, when it was published, which journal, author affiliation. One thing that's missing from this website, this page right now, is the abstract. And the reason for that is purely because it's just a recent publication of mine which hasn't been updated. So just to give you an example of a journal with an abstract and all the information required. My 2014 paper in Journal Cell Bio, looking at microRNAs again in skin development. So you can see from the actual paper, you have the title, associate journal, the DOI, they're really important for identification of the journal publication, author affiliation, and the institutes, and the abstract itself. So the abstract is really important because it gives you a very quick snapshot of the key findings of the paper. And this is really important information if you're looking through several different journals, and this will hopefully give you an idea whether the journal is appropriate for your particular assignment, essay, or coursework you're doing. And if it doesn't, then probably another journal is more appropriate, or further search needs to be done back to PubMed search engine. So just for argument's sake, this is a journal you found, you read the abstract, and you think it's the most appropriate journal for in this context for the assignment, and you want to use it. So you found that data and that information, and now how do I download the file and access it as an electronic PDF or printable version of that? And also, how do I download the citation information that I need to use for my reference list for my assignments and courseworks? So what you need to pay attention to is this right hand side here. This is a full text links here. And this link is actually, it will take you to the home page of the journal, which will give you the opportunity to access all this information that I just mentioned. So let's click on that. So we've clicked on this link and it's taken us to the Journal of Investigative Dermatology homepage. It gives us again all the information that you require: the title, its impress, the author affiliations, and the DOI, as I mentioned earlier. Also has the abstract and associated text with it. just to turn your eyes to the right hand side of this page where you have the article tools. This is really important information, and just as an FYI, just be careful when you're looking at different journal home pages. It won't be the same, it won't be the same locations, and they may have different wordings and descriptions of each function. For in this case, if you want to access PDF, you have a PDF button here which will give you the electronic version of the paper that's available. It will also give you ability to download the images if you want to do that through this next download images, but also you're able to email yourself the article if you want to do that. But the most appropriate thing for us in this tutorial is to look at export citation. So you've been able to achieve two things here. One is that you're now able to access and download the actual information that you need for your assignment. The second, and equally as important, is the exporting of the citation, which is required for your reference list at the end of it. And this is what you do by clicking on this. As a reminder and as a warning to people watching this tutorial, that some journals don't actually have the export citation description as it is in this journal. They might have alternative word such as exporting or export citations, and download citations. So don't expect to see the same terminology, same referencing, same style of wording for the same function. They're slightly different, and you may have to look for this in certain journals. But in this tutorial, it's known as export citation. Just before we move on to actually our step-by-step process of downloading the citation, I just want to make you aware that this is an open access. So what does that refer to? So open access means that you have the accessibility to look at this journal without paying any fees. There's no embargoes on it, and you can download the PDF, as I mentioned earlier, easily and without any issues. If it doesn't have an open access affiliation, then maybe it has an embargo, which means that it may need to be bought or purchased through your library services at the university. So let's move on. Once we click on export citation, and the next steps how to import your citations into Endnote, for example, and then Word document file. So let's click on export citation. Once you click on export citation, the Journal Investigator on the Total website gives you this option. So it gives you a couple of options, known as citations or content listed below, or citation or abstract. One thing you should be aware of is when you export it, what format you're exporting. So in this case, we only have one format which we can export, which is known as RIS formatting. But you can also do an Endnote, ProCite, RefWorks software to incorporate this format into that. So we're going to use Endnote today, online version, which is free. But you should also be aware that other journals will give you multiple options of different types of formats exports. And in this tutorial, we're just going to focus primarily on RIS formatting, and maybe in future I will do a tutorial based on all this. So what do? Let's click on the export button. And once we click on the export button, what do we get? Once we've clicked on it, we get a download file of the actual journal citation information, and this is known as a .ris file. So just be sure that this is a .ris file, and if it's another format, this tutorial may be not appropriate for the following steps. So we've got this. So then I want to identify where this is on my computer, a laptop. So this is in my download folder, and I know where it is, and it's a RIS format here. So now I know how to search for peer-reviewed journals. I was able to look for a particular topic by looking for keywords. Once I've identified the journal I'm interested in, I was able to then read the abstract, look at it to see if it's appropriate. If it is, and then I was able to download the PDF, electronic PDF, and then access the citation information through the export citation function to download the information. The next steps will now go about how do I incorporate this citation information into online tools such as Endnote, and then how do I use Endnote to incorporate the citation into my Word document file for my assignments, courseworks, and essays. So let's just continue with that. What you do next is once you've downloaded your citation information as a RIS file, you go to Endnote online. In this tutorial, we're just going to talk about Endnote online tutorial. There are many other software such as Mendeley, RefWorks, etc. But in this tutorial, we're just going to focus on Endnote Online. So please register on this and then log in. And this is a free online tool available to all. So once you log in, you will get this screen. So as you can see from your home screen, probably you don't have as many citations I have, but you will have a similar screen that you see here. So what do we do next? We have downloaded our citation, we've logged into Endnote Online, and we're going to hopefully now incorporate our citation into the Endnote program. So what do we do? First of all, we need to download the plugins which will allow you to cite while you write into your Word document folder, or your Word file folder. One thing you should be aware of is because it's an online version, you have to download the plugins for it to work correctly. And the way we do this is by clicking on the download function here, this red box. Once we click on this, we get this screen come up. This screen allows you to download. Cite while you write plugins for both Mac and PC. And I've clicked on the next screen. I've clicked on the installation instructions just to give you a stepwise manner how to install these plugins correctly onto your PC. Once you click on this, you get a Windows installation instruction, so click on that. If you want to do a Mac, you click on the Macintosh installation instructions for that. So once you click on the Windows instructions, installation instructions, you get a step-by-step manner explanation how to go about installing a plugin into your Word onto your PC. I'm not going to go through this in this tutorial, but please follow this very carefully, and hopefully this will be very successful. However, if you decide to buy and purchase the Endnote desktop version, you don't need to do any of the steps about plugins, because the desktop version will have an inbuilt plugin which you don't need to add later. If you get to this point now and you can open up your Word document file, you should see ideally a new tab known as Endnote just over here, which will then give you the indication whether you have successfully installed your plugin into Word. If you do not see Endnote, something has occurred, an error or incorrect way of installation, which you need to go back and follow the preceding steps on the online tutorial, step-by-step installation process on the website. And hopefully when you get to this point again, you will have the correct Endnote tab appearing here. So if you have got this Endnote tab here, then please continue with the tutorial video. Once we have the Endnote tab in the Word document file, we click on it. And once we click on it, we get these additional functions known as insert citation, go to online, Endnote Online. This connects directly to your online version of Endnote, and additional other functions which I'll mention briefly later on in the video. So let's just move on now. So what do we do next? Once we have identified how to search for scientific information, how to access the electronic version, whether they're appropriate or not through the abstract, look at the citation information, and then registering our Endnote, and then downloading the plugins and making sure that our Word file has the Endnote plugin correctly at this point. Now we go back to the online Endnote portal, where we collect and integrate our downloaded citation, which we've got on our download. So to collect this information that we've downloaded in terms of the RIS file, we click or hover over collect on our online Endnote portal. We then get these three options. We have the option 1, which is online search, which you can individually search for researchers or papers or journals. And once we click on import references, this portal opens a new window which gives us option to import our downloaded citation RIS file. We have three options which we should be familiar with. So you have the file, which is where we downloaded the file, where is the file saved, and remember it's in the download folder. You have the import option, which remember if it is a RIS format, we have to be select the right format to import the citation. So if you have the incompatible versions to each other, then you will not import correctly. And the last thing is to which folder will it be imported to. So you can select or create your own subfolder, and I've named mine test in this case. So let's just remind ourselves where this file is. So it's in download folder known as RIS, and it's in my download folders as seen on this screen. The next step I do is I click on import options, and I find, as the fact that I know it's a RIS format citation file, and then go to refman RIS because I know that the so the citation file is RIS, so the import file format has to be RIS, so it makes it compatible. And the last thing I do is I put test folder at the bottom, and all I do is click import. And this will automatically import all the information from the file into Endnote online. Then I click on my references. And from my references, I click on the subfolder. As you can see, I've got multiple folders, but for you guys, you probably have one, maybe two. So you click on test, and we have one citation, and we know from our incorporation of the citation file, we've got only one citation, which is exactly the paper that we wanted. This is Ahmed et al. 2019. So now what we've done is we've been able to incorporate all the information of the citation download into the Endnote, which will stay there forever. And now we have this information. The next step is how do I take this information from Endnote online to my Word file and cite in my essays and assignments, of course, correctly. So what do I do? So let's follow the next steps. We go back to Endnote on to Word document file. We click on the tab, and this gives us additional options, as we can see at the top. So we've actually had to read the paper, of course, to find out the key messages in that journal. So when you're writing an assignment, you're writing the main key findings. So in this paper, I wrote, in this paper, skin was shown to be aged. So I want to cite this associated with the paper that I'm talking about, and I've downloaded that information already. What do I do? So while I'm writing this, I want to cite the text that I've got. I click on Endnote. I have the options again, but the option that's the most important is step 1. I go to Insert Citations under the Endnote tab. Once I click on this, I get a drop-down option which will allow me to search all the authors in my Endnote online library. So in this case, I've only got one citation and one person I'm really interested in, which is Ahmed. So I search for Ahmed in the search engine. It gives me multiple versions of all the citations I have online, but in your case, you'll have one, maybe two. And then I select the one I'm interested in. So I'm interested in Ahmed et al. 2019. And what we do then is we go to the insert button and we select insert. What this does is incorporate all that citation information into the Word document file, and it comes up as a number, in this case, number 1, because I've set it as a format of a Nature Cell Biology journal, which numbers the citations. And then I have a reference list which comes up with my number 1 and the details of the actual journal. And this is actually completely the task from start to the end, where you've got your citation that you're interested in and then incorporating it into your essay or assignment. So the next step is that if you want to change the format slightly, depending on your assignments or coursework that you have. So you don't want to do numbering, for example, you want to change it to a Harvard or alphabetical for referencing. So how do I go about doing that? So we've got our text, our citation, which is supported of that text, and we've got the actual reference just below. One thing you should be aware of is that as you write cite, the Endnote online will automatically adjust if it's in alphabetical order or in numbering order automatically for you. So you will never need to check whether it's in the right alphabetical order or the numbering order is correct or not. It will automatically do that for you. So changing formats from for references or of references, for example, to Harvard references style. So what do you do? So this goes back to the Endnote tab and look at styles. And under styles, you'll have this. I've got, for example, Nature Cell Bio here. What you do is you click on that, and that will give you an option known as select another style. And the next select another style will then, once you click on that, will give you a drop-down menu which will then give you several different options of all the journals, all the different types of citations that are available to you. For example, if you're interested in doing Harvard referencing style, you go, it's all in alphabetical order. So if you go to H's, you'll have all the variations of Harvard reference style that you're involved in. However, if you're writing a paper or a journal article, the journals have their own different styles. For me, for example, is Journal of Investigative Dermatology. So what I do is I look for Journal of Investigative Dermatology within this list, which is in alphabetical order, and I select that. So this is the Nature Cell Biology version first. So let me just make sure that you're, so from numbering, so I've got the numbering format here, which is Nature Cell Biology. You can see the text I've put in, the number that comes up associated with the reference, which I'm citing the text with, and the reference just below. However, I want to change it to an alphabetical or Journal Investigative Dermatology style journal. So what I do then is I change the format to Journal Investigative Dermatology in this box here, related to the previous slide and the drop-down menu. And you can see once you put that in, it changes from the numbers and it becomes alphabetical. And actually in text, it becomes the Harvard referencing style or journal associated type of journal citation. So that's what you can do in terms of changing formatting, and this is all dependent on your assignments, courseworks, and the journal you're trying to publish in. And that's the end of the tutorial. So hopefully you enjoyed this step-by-step simple process of being able to, first of all, try to identify how to find scientifically peer-reviewed journals, and then being able to download the information in terms of an electronic PDF, and whether it's online open access or not, and if it's the correct journal, by looking at the abstract and looking at the electronic PDF, how do I then go about exporting the citation, and then how do I take that information from the journal homepage and incorporate it into online tools such as Endnote. But again, as I mentioned, there's other alternatives such as Mendeley and RefWorks, and then you can take that information from that tool, online tool, and then incorporate it into your Word document file only for your assignments and journals. Thank you very much. Keywords, which is quite a handy tool. You can incorporate a new reference which you can't download, for example, like a book chapter or a book version that you can't find online. But the final option, import a reference, is the one most appropriate for this tutorial. So we're going to click on import references.